Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Shannon,
morning.
it has been a minute since we've done this. I know
Yeah,
that my life got a little crazy there and I was traveling solid for a couple months. And
yeah, it's
so
been since
December.
has it been that long?
Yeah. I
Okay,
think the
well,
last one we did was in December.
that's like 5 months almost. So really, isn't that crazy?
Yeah. I mean, I traveled for a solid almost 3 months and then just
Yeah.
getting back on top of things. I'm excited my daughter's due with her baby in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, and she's having a boy,
Baby boy number 3 for
number
her.
3. Will we keep going until we have a girl, or do we not have we don't
You do
know.
not ask a pregnant mama if she's planning, especially this close to delivery. Are you planning on more babies? Because it
Well,
is definitely no.
some people know or have numbers or have like my sister was we're going to have children early, we're going to have them quickly, we're going to have 4 and we're going to be done so that we're still young when they're grown. And like she had a plan.
When my daughter was younger, she wanted 10 kids. Now she's like,
Oh,
yeah, no, we're done. The
yeah.
pregnancy is very, very hard on her body. So lots of prayers, lots of blessings her way. So if you're watching
Mm.
this, please pray for my daughter, Ellie. And she's amazing. So I'm excited for this baby. She's excited for this baby. Her little boys, they're excited for a new brother, although her oldest wants a sister.
Oh my gosh, those boys though. Those boys are so stinking cute. You put the most recent video of them up in your yard and they're getting so big
They are.
and so fun. They do such fun things at your house. It's probably like going to a little adventure camp when they get to go to your house.
You know what's great is we just when we redid our driveway, we just had them leave a big dirt mound because we were doing a garden and because we expanded our driveway. And we're like, just leave the dirt. Just having a dirt mound and some little shovels and some bigger shovels and some Tonka toys that I picked up at a garage sale. Those boys spend hours on that dirt mound. And now their favorite thing is to dig up worms and then run across the yard and go feed the chickens. So they are back and forth. And it's not a little yard.
No, you have a big yard, but I think it's so great and indicative of kind of a generation that we came from where it's like outside all day. There's so much fun to be had. And then you find something to do that little kids find so much fun that actually helps you. It's like, oh, you're actually doing a chore and you have no idea because it's
Yeah.
just fun to watch the chickens gobble.
Yeah, Ellie's been really good about incorporating the kids into chores, but yeah, it's just fun. It's learning. It's really good things like that. And
Yeah,
then
and that
you've
outside
got
is
some
important.
exciting stuff. You're going to be an empty nester here pretty soon, right?
No, no,
Oh, no, no, sorry.
no.
One daughter's moving out though.
Don't say that, Renee. My heart's not right. I'm so I have 3 daughters, 26, soon to be 20,
There we go.
soon to be 18. And yes, sorry, my cat's decided to jump on here because she knows whenever I'm
You're,
on Zoom,
I'm
she
like, your cat's
see
part
there
of our
she
Be
is.
the Light series.
She just knows. She was upstairs and she's like, "Oh, she must be recording something. Time to go visit." Um, so my daughter's 26, almost 20, almost 18. So the 26-year-old's getting ready to like buy her first house, is looking into that. The 20-year-old is getting ready to move out the end of this week. And then, my baby is graduating. So I'm in this real like emotional turmoil space. I'm so excited for all of them, like big moments for them, excited, so fun to watch them blossom into who God wants them to be and give direction to their life. Like it's just a fun time to be a mom, but I am so like sad at the same time. So yeah, so it'll be a emotional week this week in all good ways, but I keep preparing her. I'm like, just so your mom can be a little emotional, and you're moving out this week, and it's starting to really hit me. And we sign on the house tomorrow, so that'll make it like official. And then her and two of her co-leaders at church who are also her friends. They're all moving into the house, and they're super excited to hold like young adult Bible studies, young adult game nights. They do all that stuff right now, but it's at one of the parents' houses, and so they're really excited that they're going to have their own space to create this community of young Christian adults in the house. So it'll be fun, and God has like blessed the journey the whole way.
You know what? And that's so fun. That's through all the turmoil that has been going on the last almost 5 months. I have felt God's hand in my life so much more. It's funny because I just found, we've talked about this. I just found a church community
Mhm.
and I had just signed up for like this women's Bible study, and then all this stuff just happens. And I got the book, I read the book. If you guys have not read The Prodigal God, oh my gosh, please, please, please. It's such a different way to look at the prodigal son story. Like
Yeah.
it's so good. But I wasn't able to get in there and meet people. And yesterday, so I've been going back, and I know like three people at church. I met another person. Her name's Tanya, and she's very kind, and she was talking with like three ladies, and so I kind of awkwardly walked up to the group, and then all of a sudden the group kind of split into and went that, and I just stood there like, so people, please welcome new people into your church community. Then I looked over and I saw one of the musicians, and she's standing there and she's wearing short sleeves and it's kind of chilly. So I just walked up to her. I'm like, "You look cold." And started a conversation, and we started talking about how awkward it can be. Now, those
Mhm.
those two groups, they were not ignoring me. They were in a conversation, and then all of a sudden, like Tanya said hi to me, and I'll be with you in just a second. So like, but it can feel really awkward going into a new community and trying to like break in.
Yeah.
So I've had a little bit of that going on where I am needing to be the bold person, which generally I'm a bold person, right? And it's one of those situations where I'm like, do I talk to this person? Do I just stand here like weird over here? Which is kind of what I felt like. Um,
Yeah, it's always hard to be the new person in a space.
mhm.
And the easier part is saying hi. Like we've talked about this. You're really good at working a room and just saying hi and meeting everyone. But when you're looking for that connection, that community piece where like I actually want to start to have conversations and build relationships, that can be really, really hard to do, especially in church, because church is a very close knit community. And I don't think when you're in that moment, you always realize as part of a church that somebody on the outside, like you just don't stop to think that, oh, I need to put my kind of arm around them, figuratively speaking, and introduce them to people and help welcome them in. I know that I was given advice at one point when we were new at a church where they had said exactly what you're doing with, and I don't know if your women's Bible study is through church, but they said the best way to find community within a church is to find a small group to be a part of first. So you can get in with, this small group of people, meet them, and then it kind of spreads from there, which was
Yeah.
very helpful for me.
And sorry, I gotta turn my phone keeps buzzing, or dinging. Yes. And so that's what I'm looking for now. Like this next week, they have something for new people. So I'm excited to go to that. And that's the thing I'm kind of saying is, even though I've felt super awkward, it's like I have also felt warm and comfortable in the church environment, in the spirit that is there. And I'm like, okay, it's just me. And it's also that nagging little thoughts in your head, like you don't fit here, like you're being weird or whatever. So releasing all of that, thinking differently, like, no, I totally belong here. I'm going to find the right people. I don't need to be pushy.
Right.
And I also need to be bold in like walking up to somebody. Hi, my name's Ronai. I'm new
Yeah.
here. Please be my friend.
Well, and a lot of times too, the people who volunteer like at the doors or greeting, I don't know if you have that at your church where Like at our church, there's people volunteer every week who open the doors for you and say good morning, and then there's somebody at the information table. Um, and I don't, this is just my personality. I was telling my daughter this last night because she's asking me advice on something. I'm like, I'm a person who I'm just like, throw it out there because it just like you feel less nervous about it, you feel whatever. So I would even go up to that person who's kind of the liaison at church for that and be like, "So here's the thing, like I'm new, I really want to meet people. Like, can you, like I'm having a hard time finding people and connecting, even though I love the church and love you. Can you help me meet some people? Like help me find some groups. Can you share some stuff with me?" And then people usually want to help. I just don't think I think everybody's the same as us, right? As much as you're kind of like, "I'm trying to find my place and figure it out." They're the same where they're kinda like, "Oh, new person, don't know what to say," like,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, we
Absolutely.
all get in our heads.
Well, and that's what's funny is so Tanya, I did end up talking with her afterwards and she's like, I'm so sorry. I was like in the middle of this conversation. I'm like, no, totally understand. And then Daisha is the name of the other person, which is like, I haven't heard your name and I'm sure you haven't heard mine. I'm like, actually, I have a really good friend whose daughter's name is Daisha. And it's like the only second time I've heard the name. She was very kind, but they both said, yeah, it can be really awkward coming into the church community. And in fact, they've had somebody come into their church to help them with like, how can we be more welcoming to new people? How can we help them in? Which I think is really awesome that they're actively like they've seen that yes, this is an issue and that they are actively working on what can we do.
Yeah, and I think it's an issue everywhere, and I think it is an increasing issue with, my kids. Now, I shouldn't say that. My kids are a little different. My kids still like having personal voice conversations, but so many people, you don't even talk to a voice anymore. Like everything's like, "Oh, my friend," and it's all via messenger, text. I don't even know all the things, but it's all via all the things, not like, "Hey, let's get together in person and
Yes.
have a cup of coffee and have a like in-person conversation."
So this is also something that I think is a divisive device. I'm like, it's a divisive device
Yeah.
that the enemy uses since like we want community. We are designed for community. And
Mm.
as we have had more global access, we have become more divided. We have become more, if we're paying attention to what's happening way over here, we're not paying attention to what's happening in our own hometown.
Right.
We're not connected. It used to be you had a community of 120 people, right?
Right.
And those were, you knew everything about those people. Now we know a ton about people who are across the world. And I'm not saying we shouldn't know about this. Like it's really important to know this, but you don't know your neighbor.
No, I literally don't know my neighbors.
Yeah. So
And
that's been,
I think there's different things that come into that, but we've we've introduced ourselves to our neighbors next door. Now the parents don't speak English very well, so I think that's kind of why they don't talk to us. I think they have a hard time because they just don't speak English and they have to go through their younger kids. And whose younger kids want to do that? So, they're kind of like, "Hi, okay," and then I want to go ride my scooter because they're just young. And then got a couple across the street where we've talked to them several times, but they just like people just kind of shut themselves off.
yeah,
And it's interesting how community can look now, but on the flip side, so I think we can get caught in the negativity of it, but yet I see in my daughters who are 20 and 18 the way they build these communities and connect with people utilizing social media as much as, so it can be a bridge as much as it can be, a, a gap in a canyon, but it's interesting to try and navigate it and find the good in it. I see a lot of churches who can, they're either really lifting up the youth and seeing promise in the next generation, or they're really trying to not be as open to what the next generation brings to the table.
absolutely. Like again, you have to merge the new with the old and
Right.
still find all the goodness that's in it. instead of focusing on the negativity, like you were saying.
But I still see in like even in our church post the virus, it's like I see you still don't see as many people back in church as you
Yeah.
did people, and you don't realize. I think it's so interesting. Time is such an interesting thing, and comfort is such an interesting thing because I mean, just like us talking, it's been 5 months since we talked. Like it did not feel like 5 months. And you got so adjusted to being separate and doing things differently that that actually feels comfortable and normal now. And it feels more uncomfortable to go back to what you did for 20 years of your life than it does to just watch church online on YouTube or, and
Yeah.
it's really interesting how our brains work and how, in my mind, how Satan works, because it's like how I don't I don't want to say, I want to be like, how sweet is that? I don't mean sweet in a good way, but it's like Satan's like, ooh, watch me infiltrate this thing and create a comfort zone that takes millions of people out of the church,
Yes.
but they don't even realize it because they still think I'm part of the church because I watch it on YouTube.
Yes.
Like that's like good job, Satan. Like I don't mean like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not like really
Yeah.
applauding that, but it's like holy cow, that's like ingenious.
Well, I didn't go to a church building for over 10 years. And then at Faith Over Fear, because I thought, oh, my relationship with God is good. Like it wasn't for a while. And then we repaired it and we were good, right? And being at Faith Over Fear, being immersed in the goodness of God, right? Just for 3 or 4 days solid. It was amazing. And being able
Mhm.
to hear him and he's like, you need community,
Yeah,
right?
and we all do.
Exactly.
Even when we think we don't. We think, oh no, I don't not like, yeah, I'm not like Ronai. I don't need, and you and I, we talk about this, like we're both people. We're both people, but I'm a little more one-on-one people
You're a
person.
relator. I'm includer. If we
Right.
go
So
back
you're
to
like,
strength,
yeah,
you're like, here is my group of people. I am super good with this. And that's relator. Relator, you have 2 or 3 ride or die friends, and that's where your comfort zone is. And yeah, of course, you're friendly with other people, but this is where you're super comfortable. I have includer high, which means I want all the people. I want all the friends. I want to interact with people. And so that's why it's really awkward for me, especially since I'm going to church by myself. My family all they worship different ways in different places, and
right.
so I'm going by myself, which is awkward for me. And yesterday was the first time where my 2 friends who go there, like they weren't there. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna just find my comfort zone by myself. And then I just relied heavily on the Lord. I'm like, okay, Lord, it's just you and I here with this awesome group of people. We're singing, we're listening to the word. Like it was really, really good because I lean on that person who's next to me and like I'll be able to talk with them or like just having somebody I know next to me feels good. And so I had to go, okay, we're gonna make this feel good anyway. And
And good for you for doing that.
it was good. And I stepped out of my comfort zone and at the end I went and I talked to the pastor and he's like, I'm so glad you came back. And because I was like, hey, you remember me? He's like, yeah, of course I remember you. So it was really good. And just stepping into that I don't need to lean on other people. I need to rely on God. And that's what I
Right.
really learned yesterday. Oh, I got an eyelash in my eye. Yep. Um, one of the things I'd love to talk about is sorry. You talk for a second. I need to. I
I
have
mean,
a flash in my eye.
no, I think that's great. And I think that, and this is what gets me excited about the youth, is that I think you see some of that coming back. Like with my 2 girls in high school, they have a Bibles and breakfast group, and so some of the community pastors take turns going into the group each week. And at the beginning of the first year they were in it, there was like 20 kids in it, and by the end of the year they had like over 100 kids in it. And uh, I think it's exciting to see that you get a lot of young people who get it and are actively trying to build that community. Just like what my daughter wants to do with this new house, actively try and build a community, a space where this kind of lost age group in the church, kind of, you turn 18, you're not in the youth groups anymore, but you're not married and in the, adult groups either. You're in this, in between phase where there's this place for all of them to congregate and to worship together and to Bible study together and have a community together, a sub community within the church.
That's so awesome. And it's awesome that she's creating that new home that you're creating. Um, we have something new and fun and exciting that has come into our lives in the last couple weeks, which has been fun. You guys know we met Ray Higdon. I met Ray Higdon at a Eddie Via event with Strengths, and Shannon and I went to Faith Over Fear. So I met Ray in September. We went to Faith Over Fear Halloween, October 31st, and we're there for a couple of days, so into November. And while I was there, was really inspired to write this book called Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths, which will be coming shortly. I have a story about that. Actually, let me share that right now before we get into this other thing. So, got the book finished, sent it to Gallup, who is it's their proprietary work with Clifton Strengths Finders, which you guys, you need to get your 34 strengths report, all 34, not just the top 5, but get your full 34, invest the $60 in yourself. It's so good to know who you are at your core by knowing your strengths. It's so cool. And I've been an Eddie Via Unleash Your Strengths coach. So Eddie is a Gallup certified strengths coach. And he, over several years, developed this really amazing coaching program called Unleash Your Strengths, which goes deeper and is beautiful. Like I love it. And while at Faith Over Fear, had a conversation with God that went a little something like this, because somebody was up on stage talking about writing a book. So at that point, I had already written 2 children's books on using essential oils. Mom's got an oil for that, and Dad's got an oil for that. And I'd been sitting on Grandma's got an oil for that for like 2 years, kind of halfway done, kind of messing with it, playing with it. And I'm like, I don't need to listen to the speaker up there. They had put this bubble, one of those little bubbles with the things going off there for you to be creative in front of you. And I looked at him like, I don't need this. I haven't even finished my children's book. But I've been trying to be super faithful and listen to what God wants, not what I want. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just ask God, am I supposed to write another book? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yes. And it will be called Faithfully Unleash Your Strengths. And you will write it with Eddie Via. And here are some ideas. And I was like, and they gave us 90 seconds to write on this. And this conversation with God, and by the time, so I had like about 30 seconds to just write some stuff down really, really fast. And all of a sudden it was like, boom, right? And from there, just on fire to write this book. Just finished it recently and sent it to Gallup. And Eddie's like, yeah, just send it to Gallup. And Gallup's like, awesome. Eddie's name can be on this book. Now, I've written 98, 99% of this, and Eddie had said this is going to be written by Ronai Brumett with Eddie Via, because his information, guys, is so, so, so good.
Amazing.
And his insight and his help and his guidance, I'm just really, really grateful for Eddie Via. And they're like, but Eddie is a Gallup certified strengths coach, so his name can be on this book, but yours can't because you're not a Gallup certified strengths coach.
Yet.
And I gotta admit, I know a lot of Eddie's information is he's a Gallup certified strengths coach, so he had to run us through the basics and then even more.
Right. He evolved it.
So, um, this like it's been within the last month that this has been going on. And it's quite a chunk of money that's needed for this. Well, my money's all tied up with the last several months of helping my mom and some different things that are going on there. So, like, I don't have the money to put into this $7,700 course. And my husband was like, you know what? I totally believe in you. And we will find a way to, if I have to cash up some 401k, if I have to do this is like, let's make this happen. And it was just so sweet. Like, just so, and he's not a believer. Like, so as I've been going through different things, this is based off of Bible scriptures and strengths and he's still just been super, super supportive. It's been awesome. So tomorrow, actually, I am selling my long arm quilter back to the quilt shop that I purchased it from, and it's just about the amount of money that I need. And I've had so many people going, "Oh my gosh, you're selling your quilter?" Because I love quilting. I love having this quilter. And when I prayed about it, I didn't feel good about taking money out of our 401k or causing more debt and this is what felt good. And and God is like, "Do this. Show me the sacrifice and you will get your upgrade." Now, this is where we get into there's this app called the Brilliant Plus app. Okay. You guys, this is a brand new company. I just pulled it up. It's a brand new company that so at Faith Over Fear, we had one of the keynote speakers was Graham Cook. If you have not heard Graham Cook speak, do yourself a favor. YouTube him or whatever. Graham Cook is just phenomenal. Also, we'll be dropping a link here that you can check out this app, 5 days free on this app. But in here, I've been listening to The Art of Thinking Brilliantly. Did you start it?
Yes, I've been stuck on because it has been so amazing for me. There's the 5 days of praying, how to
Praying
pray
with
with God, the 5 day. And I've been like re-looping that. Like every day I just go because it's just like, oh man, this is so good. Like, oh, this is like so good. And so um I've done a couple other things within the app, but every day I keep just re-listening. And today I
it.
listened to day 4 again, I think.
We've only had the app for 2 weeks, guys. This
Yeah.
is this is so incredible. So I did the praying with God also. I under routines, I am on day 10 in anchoring in God's affection. So I've been doing multiple of these and I'm on so under explore by category. So there's over 600 videos in this library. And explore by category under the conferences, the very first one that's going to pop up is the art of thinking brilliantly. And in the art of thinking brilliantly, I've listened to the first one, so it's broken into 15 to 20-minute segments,
Hmm.
and I've listened to the first one like 4 times. It's
That's
so
the
good.
thing. Yeah, there is so much. And when I say so much, I don't mean because I don't want people to get the wrong idea. It's not so much like, oh my gosh, this is like college PhD course and like it's so much and I have to take notes. It's so much like it's simple, yet it's so informative and you're like, "Oh,
It's
oh, I yeah, like you never thought of it that way." And the way they break down the scripture to help you really understand how like God's coming in partnership with you and how is just really like eye-opening and awakening. Like you're just like, "Oh," and it helps bring you to I mean, like you said, 2 weeks in a very short period of time, it helps bring you to a different level of understanding of how God is in your life.
yes. And I'm not going to discourage you from sitting down and taking notes.
No, no, not at
But
all.
I listened to this. The reason I had to listen to that one like 4 times was because I listened to it while I'm doing dishes or I'm doing something. It's not, it's adding to my life rather than like listening to just. the radio or listening to an audiobook. I've been listening to this app instead. And it's like, ooh, I want to write that down, but then I'm doing something, so I think, okay, I'll write that down later. And then all of a sudden, the next two sentences later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to write that down as well. And so I've just been trying to live into it. And one of the things that he says in this first one in The Art of Thinking Brilliantly is when you have something that happens in your life that kind of throws you for a loop, you should be going, Yahoo!
Mm.
Like, why? Most people, and you call up your friend, oh my gosh, I just had this thing happen, and they should be like, where's my Yahoo? Because after that Yahoo, after that, it's because your upgrade is coming. So
Mm.
here, I could be really sad that I'm selling my quilter because I have to take this course so that I can publish my book. And instead, I'm going, Yahoo, I get to give up something that I love to produce something or to take this course so that I can produce something that God wants for me, not just
Yeah.
for me, but for other people. And Shannon, I gave you a sneak preview of the book. What do you think?
It is amazing. It is amazing. First of all, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Like for listening and for because I was there at Faith with you and I've never seen anybody like you were writing and writing and writing. Your brain was like you're just like downloading and writing like a crazy person trying to get it all onto paper. And then to follow through and be obedient. So many times, we get something, especially when you're at like a seminar type environment, there's all these, increased feelings, this all sorts of, and then a lot of times you leave and, nothing happens with it. So to see you work through it and follow through on it was so proud of you. But
Thank you.
amazing book, amazing content. I think it ties in so beautifully with, I mean, the thing people don't understand about strengths, right, is when you say, if you don't know anything about strengths, when you just say to somebody, you should really get your top 34 strengths, people are like, yay, like I don't quite get it. But um, until you do it and really see those strengths and understand it, it is hard to get. But I had one of my very best friends take her strengths test with you and meet with you. And it's so funny because she really struggles with how she sees herself. She's made some mistakes in the past and her brain, she just hangs on to those and associates so much of that with who she is. And when she spent that time with you going over her strengths test, because that's another thing is you don't just have to take your strengths test and read it and be like, okay, great. Like you get to take your strengths test, you get to meet with Renee and Renee's going to be like, well, let's break it down. And you did that with her. And you asked her at one point, who do you think we're talking about here? And she told you, "This sounds like Shannon." She thought you guys were talking about me, and you said, "No, this is you. These are your strengths." And it changed her life, and I say that in all seriousness. It changed her life because it clicked in that moment that she had proof in a way of who she was and that who she is really truly in real life isn't this voice that tells her who she is in her head. And
Yes.
it freed her from a lot of things. It freed her from a lot of trying to be a certain person, do certain things, because she got to realize that it's okay to be this, that this is really who she is, that this is who God made her to be, that this is who she's intended to be, that she's not supposed to be this. And it really created a lot of freedom for her. And she was, for the first time that I had really ever seen in a long time, like happy with who she was. Like,
Oh,
kind of a happy to look in the mirror sort of thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm these things. And it even did for me. Like I did a lot of disc and personality stuff and I had done the five strengths and the different things, right? But you talked earlier about how like we're both people person, we're both relational, but how you're an includer and you're relational, you do really great in groups and you talk about being a hummingbird where you'll just kind of float around and talk to everybody. And I love to be with people too, but it's in very like I love to meet people. I don't care if it's in a group setting and then go sit down and have like a good conversation. Like I like to go deep and have great conversations with like one or two people at a time. And I didn't ever realize that there are different types of people, people persons out there, however you want to say it,
Yes.
until doing this and realizing, oh, I am a people person, but this is why I don't like to go do some of the things Renee likes to do. Like it didn't make sense to me how we're both people persons. Probably not saying that right, but you know what I'm saying. Uh,
Relationship builders?
right, how we're both, there you go, how we're both relationship builders, but how that could be so different.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very insightful. And then, okay, so full circle, you take that sort of information, and now God's like, girl, let's go next level. Like, I'm going to take you, take all that great information about who that person is and how I've designed them to be. And now you're going to tie it all back to me. Who are you in Christ? Like, who are you? How, and it's just like the next level of understanding who you are and who you're creating. It's just amazing. I can't even, I wish I could come up with better words because I know as I'm talking to you guys, it's like, thanks, amazing. That was great. But
That's so good.
until you read it, it was so good that without your permission, sorry, I did tell you after the fact, I printed it and three-hole punched it and put it in a three-ring binder and put them little paper protector things on it so it doesn't, so I could start highlighting things selfishly, honestly, because it was like, okay, which ones are my strengths and what Bible, like it was just amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad. And that's why I want to get this done as soon as possible. I could have waited for months to do the so I'm actually what in 2 weeks I will be doing the course.
Mhm. How
Um
long is the course?
it's a 4 day from I'm doing it on Zoom. So this is where being able to watch stuff on Zoom and do stuff on Zoom is great because it used to be you had to go in person and do this course and it would have cost me more money because I'd need hotel and food and flights and all that stuff. But now it's virtual. So I get to do it. It'll be Pacific time. So our time is Central. I'll be at the computer solid from 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. for 4 days.
Ooh,
Yeah. But you know what? When I am done, I'll be a certified Clifton or like Gallup certified Clifton Strengths
yeah.
coach, which is awesome. So it just like gets me solidly in there. I'm also an Eddie via Unleash Your Strengths. And here's the deal, guys. When I did my Clifton Strengths assessment, I had done it years ago because I had somebody who was like, I really need to know what your strengths are because I need to know how to duplicate you. And then she looked at my strengths and she goes, I can't duplicate you. You're unduplicatable, which is funny because that's what Eddie Via says. You are infinitely unique.
Yeah.
Like no one can duplicate you. And so, sorry, this keeps going. I think I need a new camera. It keeps going fuzzy. But you are infinitely unique. And when you understand that, it's so cool. And what I thought of as weaknesses are actually they're my strengths. I just use
Yeah.
them differently. My husband and I are literally polar opposites. My top 5 to 10 are his bottom 5 to 10, and vice versa, right? So it's really cool when you understand the strengths language and you understand your strengths and you understand your spouse's strengths. All of a sudden, those things that used to irritate the tar out of me, right? I'd be like, oh, actually, he's just working in his strengths and he's not doing that to irritate me. He just works differently than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And now having that faith basis behind it, being able to and you guys, this was all God inspired. Like I am not Bible knowledgeable. So I was working with Chat GPT because that's what you do. And by the way, you cannot write a book just saying Chat GPT, write this. It does not happen. And even when you say, give me a different, like it kept coming up with like in the book, I even talk about like fighting with Chat GPT because that was the thing. But then I would pray about it and say, God, is this the scripture you want me to use for this? And I'd get a yes or a no, that's not quite right yet. And so would work with it and work with it until it was right. And then what's the cool part is there are some Bible verses that you're like, what does that even mean? Right? But when you pair it with a strength, and a lot of these verses could work with so many different strengths. So don't think this is the end all be all. And if your favorite Bible verse is under a strength that is not your own strength, it doesn't mean you can't still
Right.
put it in your strength. This is a guideline, right? But it helped me understand some of the Bible verses like, oh, I never understood it that way. And it makes so much more sense now. So it was a
Yeah.
really cool process for me, especially as I'm on this, new non-denominational Christian journey since October 31st of 2024, right? So like and I had to fight with the who are you to be writing this book, right? That stuff happening in my head. And I kept going, nope, you know what? God told me to write this. So I'm his daughter. I'm his
Yeah.
child. He said, write this, and I'm gonna do it.
Amen. I think I mean, honestly, I think that this strengths arena is pivotal in relationships. I mean, I think it's so much more valuable than people understand because there are a lot of companies that will do the Clifton, the five strengths and be like, "Oh, look, see, yeah, this is not that." And oh, can you imagine what marriages would be like if young couples like did took their strengths tests and met with someone to talk about, "Hey, when he does," because Dion and I have been married and be 27 years this year. And I had him take his strengths test and we met, and it was so funny because one thing I always struggled with him, and I didn't ever really talk to him about it because I wasn't like a bad struggle. It was we are very dominant people. He's a dominant personality. I'm a dominant personality. And so, but I very much am like the take charge person in our house. And I always felt really bad about that because I was like, he's a dominant person too. So like, am I like diminishing him? Like, am I taking charge too much? And it's kind of like cats, somebody's gotta back off a little bit. And I'm like, is he like not being able to be true to himself because I'm like to take charge? And I would try and talk to him about it, which he's not a talker. You learn his strengths, you'll know that he's not his relational stuff is like, way down at the bottom. He's very analytical, critical thinking, that sort of thing. And so there was never really any conversation because I'd always be like, am I stepping on your toes too much? Or do you want to do this? Or do you want to? And it was really frustrating for me because I really believed that I was probably doing something not harmful, but you know what I mean? Like emotionally, like doing something just to make him smaller. And he really didn't have the communication to be able to tell me, I don't even get what you're talking about. This is not an issue for me. You know what I mean? And then we met with you and you were talking about it and you said something about him where you're like, he is a very dominant person, but he doesn't like to be in front. He likes to be like the pillar of strength. He likes to be the supporting role. He likes to take charge and making sure that the person in the front is supporting everything. And you said all this stuff, not having any idea that I had these feelings, mind you. We had never talked about this. You went into this and explained all this off of his strengths report. And I was like, it was, I mean, you learn some critical things about a person you're in a relationship with that help you really, just like you said, be okay with who they are because you don't take it personally. We are so, as human beings, so wired to make everything about us that you just, when your spouse does something, you just assume like it's about you, or they're like, you don't
Mm-hmm.
understand that they're just being themselves just like you're being yourself. And uh to be able to see that and to recognize that is a game changer.
Yes. And what's cool is all these strengths were a gift, right? They're a gift from God, right? And when we
Mhm.
understand those gifts, when we understand who we are, like my husband, I used to, like you were talking about, he is very much an internal, slow, strategic thinker. He has five executing strengths, four strategic thinking strengths in his top 10.
Yeah.
Okay. If you have three or more in your top 10 of there's four different domains. If you have three or more of one of each of those domains, that's a dominant domain for you. If you have four or more, you really like that. If you have five or more of those strengths in that domain, you're obsessed with it. So executors want to make sure things are done the right way. Strategic thinkers need time to think, create, and learn. I am a five relationship builder, three influencer. Relationship builders want to connect with the right people, and influencers want to move them forward. So me, I'm like, let's connect and move you forward. And he's like, whoa, we got to make sure things are done the right way, and you got to give me time to do that. And I have activator at number five, so I'm like, ready, fire, aim.
Yeah. Let's move forward now.
Yeah. And so understanding that, I've been able to slow down, give him time to think. So I give him information. And in the past, we've been married 30 years. And in the past, I'd be like, we need to do this. And it was like, it needed to be done now. And for him, that doesn't work. But again, super dominant personality here. So he would always think he was wrong.
Mm,
And so I'm like, nope. Okay. Now, if I want something done, I will say, hey, I want to do this, but think it over, figure out the best way for us to do this. If it needs to be done quicker, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to give you this information. I'm sorry, there's kind of a quick turnover on this, but take a couple minutes to think about it and like, can we move forward with this? Right. So
yeah.
the words that come out of my mouth are so much different. I still get to be absolutely me and give him time to be absolutely him, which
Right.
it has totally saved our marriage.
Yeah, I mean, it really does change things. We have, and over the silly things, like I want a new couch, y'all. I want a new couch so bad. And I want to get a sectional. Our room's perfect for it. It'd be great for a family, open up everything. Like, I want a sectional. And my husband is very, furniture we have is great. It's solid, made in America. Can't find it like this anymore. And you can't find it like this anymore because it ain't been made for like 20 years. You cannot find it like this anymore. But uh so it's funny because this has been this thing. And I have at least learned, and my husband's a very slow processor. So like the couch has been a thing for like a year now. But I just keep plugging in little things here and there. It's like, we're gonna need a new couch soon. And just like he really has to warm up to these things. And before I would have like lost my mind and been like, look, I'm buying a couch. You or without you. Actually, I wouldn't have. I don't do that. But I would have wanted to. And it would have frustrated me. And now I'm just like, my daughter says the other day, are we ever getting a new couch? Like, your dad's almost ready. We just have to longer. That's what I said, he's almost ready. We just have to give him maybe a couple months.
I love it. I love I love everything about strengths, obviously. And
Mhm.
I'm super excited that hopefully in June I can announce that we are moving forward with publishing. So that is my plan right now. If you guys want to know more about strengths, about unleash your strengths, about faithfully unleash your strengths, comment below. I in the little information section. I am not technical, you guys. So I have another friend who helps me put all of this together on YouTube. But in that section, you can check out my website. It's ronabrumett.com. We will also be dropping a link to the app. This is a 5-day app. Five, oh, no, no, sorry. The app is like forever, right?
Right. Hmm.
But we want to give you 5 days free so you can check it out. It there is a monthly membership or you can pay for the year. If you pay for the year, it like saves you 30%. And I got to tell you, my first day of listening was worth that whole year of paying. It's
Yeah.
at least for me, that has been so good. The other thing that's kind of cool about this is actually a new network marketing business. So it is a great way to help bring people closer to the Lord, but also help bring people financial freedom. So if you're looking for that, check out the link that we have dropped in not the comments, in the information section. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's called. Shannon, do you have any parting words?
Well, I just had a thought for you. You should propose to your church. You should do a strength. You should offer to lead a strengths course for uh married people
I
within
love
your
that
church.
idea. I love that idea. Huh.
You would meet people and it would like really help everyone, and they are always doing relationship building things. You could bring it, there you go. I think,
I love that idea, especially okay. So I'm gonna put the caveat in that like when I have my book, that would be even stronger.
yeah, because then you can tie it
I
with
mean, I can,
something written, because you would tie it anyway, but they would have the tangible book to see if
yeah,
they wanted to follow up on in writing, the things you go over in the course.
I I love that idea. It
Yeah,
also
me
like
too.
I have a little bit of that like excitement and fear of that same feeling inside you guys.
Yeah,
So at first it was like, oh, like, and then I'm like, no, that's not fear, that's excitement. That's because if I can help couples be stronger together,
yeah,
it just makes everything better. And then when you know your kids' strengths, like I know all but one of my kids' strengths. He refuses, but he's really stubborn and anyway, but knowing their strengths, because as a parent, we have ideas in our head that our child is this way, and then all of a sudden
yeah,
it's like, oh, actually they're not. I coach this whole family. There's a family of five, and mother and daughter were having some issues. They were just like butting heads. Well, they have some of the exact same strengths. In fact, they each have developer at number five, right?
mm,
And so the mom is looking at you do things this way. And the daughter's like, no, I don't. Well, they can both have developer, they can have the same strength and the same number, but because one of them, their dominant domain was executing, so she wants to make sure things are done the right way. And the other one, the dominant domain, oh, I'm trying to think. I can't remember which, but it was a different domain. Like I think I want to say relationship builder. So they used developer totally different, like
yeah,
totally different. So that's one of the cool things about finding about strengths. It's not just you knowing who you are at your core, but then you can also find out about those around you, and it's just a beautiful thing. So I'm really grateful to Gallup and the Clifton Strengths Finder for their information, and I'm so incredibly thankful for Eddie Villa taking it like another step. And I'm really
yeah.
thankful for God for inspiring this faith-based book about strengths because that's just been beautiful.
It's amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait for my official printed copy and not my bootleg copy.
Sign your bootleg copy.
Yes, though the bootleg copy I'll always keep because it's special, but
Oh, you are amazing. Thank you. Thank you for jumping back in and let's make sure that we are a little more consistent with our Be the Light.
let's do that. Back on track.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Bye.